Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Step it off, break it down and lose it. Come on, follow us to the new revolution. Come on, step it off, break it down and lose it. Come on, follow us to the new revolution. That this battle I am never losing. I'm choosing to ignore the cuts and bumps and bruises. I'm cruising through these haters, leave them looking stupid. They foolish if they think they'll ever hear my conclusion. I'm through with all these promises and their excuses. I'm bruising eagles left and right every time I do this. I'm shooting for the top, no I'll never settle where you did. The future's in my hands, my grip will never loosen. My crew is ready to obtain the absolution, removing any doubt that we was ever fooling. Come on, step it off, break it down and lose it. Come on, follow us to the new revolution. Come on, step it off, break it down and lose it. Come on, follow us to the new revolution.
Rise and shine, my sinners. When Father Evil starts his day, he gets a little
deadly. Deadly Grounds coffee has the richest, smoothest flavor you'll find anywhere. It's sinfully delicious. Once you go deadly, you never go back. Order yours at getdeadly.com. Coffee's so good, it's scary.
Hey, happy Wednesday, everybody. You're watching Still Toking With. We have an awesome show scheduled for you today. My name's Leo. I'm the monkey behind the keyboard. And as always, Benjamin, how's it going, my friend? Can't hear you, Ben.
Tonight, Ben will be miming everything.
While we wait for him to fix it. Powerful Brandon, how's it going?
I'm doing well, Leo. I hope everybody else is as well. I look forward to hearing from Ben at some point tonight.
I know.
Oh, there you go. That's the first time that when you went to intro that it kicked my mic to a default.
Wow, that is.
But not the last.
Brandon's fault. It's because Jeff's not here and I got Brandon tonight.
Yeah, it was the software that did it. Maybe.
Keep it up. Keep screwing with me, Leo. It's all right.
So Ben, you brought.
I will have our guest drag you into the. Keep it up.
Oh, don't bring that up. Don't bring that up.
Into the background.
Keep it up.
So you brought an awesome guest. Would you care to introduce him?
This guest actually needs no introduction. This gentleman has over 130 credits to his name. He's dabbling in music. We'll learn more about that tonight. But if you grew up in the 80s, you definitely know who he is, and you probably had some sleepless nights. But let's welcome Mr. Courtney Gains.
What's up, man? That was quite an intro. I have a contact buzz now for sure, man.
Oh, speaking of my other host, there he is in the chat. Apparently he didn't drive to get the connection. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Who wants to start? I know Brandon's itching. I can see him.
I mean, I'm itching, but that's a physical thing. But
yes, it's already an adult show. I can see.
I have a cream for that. Don't worry, it's prescription. No, I mean, first off, I just gotta say this. I told my cousin Steve Powers in Medford, Massachusetts, that I was going to be on the show speaking with you today, Courtney, and he wanted me to convey to you that he says you shit on my house to people in disappointment with them on an almost daily basis, and he wanted to thank you for that.
Yeah, he's welcome. You tell him I said that's fantastic.
I know he thinks so too.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. You derailing us right at the start.
That's why you.
Yeah, hey, it's good to have some quotes out there people know, though. You know, could be worse.
Right. Well, that's true. Like, I mean, one of the quotes that you shouted back in the 80s kept me from going to church. I'm just going to say right now, you know. I was afraid that every time they said that in church, that I had to look over my shoulder to see if I was going to get stabbed by something.
There you go.
I have to say I've never finished Children of the Corn. I started watching when I was a kid, and I was too scared. I remember shutting off the VHS. And
VHS, we're really going back.
We are going back. I can't tell how many times I've been at conventions and people were like, yes, I went to my friend's house and they put in that movie and they happen to have a cornfield in the backyard and I didn't sleep that whole night, you know.
Well, see, I grew up on a farm, so
see, there you go. See, I knew it.
Right?
I could sense it. You look like a farm boy.
Yeah.
What are you trying to say? Tell us what you're really trying to say, Courtney. It's okay.
And he looks like he grew up on a farm. Keep going.
I'm to the point, man. I didn't say he struck me as a farm boy. You know, I read people. You know, that's what I do. I'm an actor. His laid back, taking his time, doing everything. You know.
Right. Backstage, I told Courtney for like 3 weeks in the 80s, I didn't sleep and I had to watch things like this. I mean. Oh, hey, look, you got connection, I guess.
Uh-oh, who do we got here? I'm going to put on my glasses real quick to see the face completely. Hey, what's up, man?
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
This is the other half of the show that's on vacation.
Yeah. Well, sorry to disturb your vacation, but glad you made it.
Oh no, that's all right. We're at the lake. See, lake.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Keep it. Show off.
What?
It said show off.
Oh,
Keep rubbing it in.
No, we had fun. We went out on the UTV today.
Yeah.
Up
You
in
could have
the
shaved
hills.
for the show. Thanks.
Hey,
He
I'm in
showed
fucking-
up, man. He's on vacation.
I'm
Holy
in Maine.
crap.
asshole.
Jeez. Hey, Jeff, what an effort you made showing up. Oh, this guy
Hey,
over here.
see?
Oh, I guess Gillette's on strike. Jesus,
I mean,
Mary and Joseph.
I'm sitting here by the where is it? Can you see it?
You even got
Ooh.
a fire going? What the hell?
Here by the campfire with my lovely wife. Yes.
Hi, Jeff's lovely wife.
So.
You know, but I figured see if I had connection and I'd pop in and say hello.
You know what happened though? By popping in and saying hello and showing that you have connection, we
Yeah.
will never, ever fucking get away from anybody ever again.
Want to bet?
They'll say, but you guys have connection up there. I know you can do this.
Well, yeah. You know what the problem is, though?
All right, hey, enough about us. Courtney's here.
Yeah.
Hey, guess what? There's a shitload of cornfields up here.
Well, there you go.
See?
Corn for the rest of the day.
You're still number one. Jeff.
The theme was
You
there.
know?
It was foreshadowing of what was to come, my friend.
Right.
See? Well, 2 years ago it was all hemp. Now it's back to corn.
Ah,
Yeah, Children of the Hemp didn't work out very well.
sounds like a good stoner flick to me. We should do it.
They kept
I think we
spacing out
should.
the start
Hold
date.
up the hemp.
Well, no, but
Right?
there's a movie for you. Hose of the Hemp.
Ah,
All right.
Well, then.
So anyway,
I think Children of the Hemp was a better seller.
Oh, you think about the
starring
hose of-
Courtney Gaines as the
Yeah.
father.
that's right.
he's
Come
the
full
Outlander
circle.
in this one.
Watch them. I'll
I
do
could've
R.G.
said,
Armstrong's role and get taken out at the at the gas station.
Children of the Hemp, wouldn't it be Malachi?
There you go.
You know,
I
you know, hose of the Hemp.
Boy, you see
just go out the same way I came in. Or...
you see how fast we just go off the tracks, folks. I mean, really.
Not-
That's fucked in. I was watching the show. I'm like, this is fucking boring. What the hell's wrong with these dudes?
Oh, yeah, and your presence changed that. Good job.
It brought total focus and clarity. That's what I think.
Yeah. I doubt that.
Well, go ahead, Leo. You got something to say.
No, I've been. It's okay. Donnie Smith says, Malachi, hey, Courtney, I grew up in the 80s, loved Children of the Corn and Back to the Future. Very cool. Cheers from Boston, man. And
Thank you, man.
Angela says, hi, everybody. Matthew Fisher says, I work with Courtney on the house across the street. He's a great guy.
Yeah, that was an interesting project. The reason most interesting was that the director was deaf, and that's not a joke. He was deaf, and it was one of the coolest premieres because the crowd was also 80% deaf. And afterward, they just came up and they were just so generous and so thankful that they had a director that was giving the deaf community a voice of some kind. It was really a really incredible evening and one not to forget.
Wow.
So,
That's pretty cool.
That's incredible.
Totally. Darren Miller says, hey,
So,
guys, awesome.
Am I breaking up, guys?
You are.
Am I breaking up on you guys? Yeah,
A little
I figured
bit.
I would be. But
Little bit.
All right.
I'll let you do your show. I wanted to pop in, say hi to Malachi, and just so you know, you hated character from my wife on Children of the Corn. She really didn't like you. You were scary.
I'm a nice guy once you get to
That's
know
what
me.
she told me anyway. Well, that's true with anybody. you know?
Not
So,
true with
I'll
Malachi.
let you guys do your
You
show.
know
I need
him.
to come in and
Not so
talk
nice.
about,
All right, brother.
you know.
Be safe up there.
Have
All
fun,
right, man.
Jeff.
Peace out. Yep.
See ya.
Bye.
Just want to give everybody a heads up that Courtney has some awesome stuff going on right now. He has a couple songs that are out right now. I do have the information for Spotify up above or down below, depending on where you're watching or listening to us. Also, 2 new movies. River is out today, and Queen Bees just came out as well. And those are available on VOD. And are those getting a physical release as well?
The Queen Bees was out in theaters. I think it still might be. But River went straight to VOD, and then I got 2 other ones too. Well, actually, a couple more actually. A horror movie I did called Await the Dawn just came out on Amazon Prime this last week, which none of us knew, including the director. So that was a big surprise. That's got Dee Wallace and Vernon Wells and myself in it, and so that's a fun ride. And August 13th, I have a movie called Charming the Hearts of Men coming out. Kelsey Grammer and Sean Astin. And it's a movie set in the 50s about the woman who got the word women's rights put in the Civil Rights Bill, based on a true story.
Oh, nice. That also has Anna Friel in it?
Yes, she's the lead, and she's fabulous.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm gonna have to watch out for that. I love the based on true story style movies.
Yeah, it's a story I don't think anybody knows. I certainly didn't know. And I played the owner of the diner she worked at, where she allowed a sit-in to happen that caused a whole civil rights uproar in her small town in the South that actually happened. They actually have photos of it and such.
Wow.
And it's just kind of cool to be part of an interesting little part of history. And I always like period pieces, 50s, Western, Civil War. I love all that kind of stuff.
Very nice. Well, I mean, you've portrayed a ton of amazing roles, like we were saying earlier, from Children of the Corn. I mean, you were in Back to the Future, the Burbs.
Yep.
I mean, I looked at the list and I was just like, I can't name all these.
Yeah, I had a really good 80s teen cinema run, for sure. And that got me started. I was, kind of at the right place at the right time. I was 18 years old, but looking 15, which was pertinent so you could work a full day back then. Emancipation laws were different. I had about 5 years of really good professional training under me, which really gave me an edge too. And, after the success of Children of the Corn, I just made a decision not to sort of play the same character twice. I didn't want to get stuck in horror. And I managed to have a hit in, every genre really in that run, and really established myself as a character actor with a bit of range, and that's bode well for me for the rest of my career.
That's awesome.
Outstanding. Yeah, I mean, it's funny you say doing the period pieces too, because one of the first things that would spring to mind immediately for a lot of people would be Back to the Future. I mean, in the 80s, playing a teenager in the 50s, that has to add a lot more fun to portraying a character, to really be able to like disappear when you can just be enveloped in what the wardrobe, the styles were of a time, completely separate and different from what you're used to. Like, kind of look back and be like, so this is what I'd look like in 1955. Like,
it's just funny looking back and seeing me in those movies now. I'm like, my God, I was so young and so scrawny. My pencil neck and all that. I didn't realize how thin I was back then. I was like, my God, I was weighing like $130 or something.
That's the way it always goes. It's always like, oh man, I wish I was as skinny now as I was when I thought I was really fat.
There you go. Exactly. But,
right.
Yeah, I didn't get I was just a kid but now that I'm older, I look at them, I'm like, my God, I was just a kid.
Youth is wasted on the youth. This is bullshit.
But yeah, teen cinema, right place, right time. The 80s was a big teen. There was a big teen cinema thing happening. And just right place for good timing. Timing's everything in any business, I think.
Nice. Leo, did you by any chance get any of the trailers for the 2 new ones? I'm
still working on it. The worst case I can do is I can bring it up and I can do a screen share. But it doesn't look like I got one from October Coast.
Okay, well, if we have to do a screen share, we'll do a screen share.
Yeah, totally.
But before we do that, Courtney, I mean, you like Leo said, River just came out and Queen Bees has been out for a couple of weeks. And that's really kind of what we're promoting a little bit here. So can you tell us a little bit about Queen Bees?
Yeah, sure. So the storyline of Queen Bees is Ellen Bernstein's character it goes to a retirement home so why her house is going to get worked on, and then the house burns to the ground, and she has to actually live there and realizes it's like high school all over again, except the mean girls are old. Nice. And I just have a cameo in it, but I made the trailer, which surprised me, to be honest, but I got to work with Ellen Bernstein, Anne Margaret, Jane Curtin, and Loretta Devine in one scene, so I wasn't going to say no.
Right.
And the first half of this day, I just got to really watch them work. My character was watching them in this diner looking for an opportunity to steal a purse. And so I just got to watch these 4 iconic actresses work, and that was just great. And then I finally got my chance to really dive in there and work with them. And it's a funny little scene, and it kind of is a bonding moment for the girls because, they take this guy out together. So then they're like, we're the queen bees,
That's awesome.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, they didn't send a file, but we can do a screen share. So we'll play this. Just keep in mind, people can still hear us while it's playing.
Okay.
Welcome to Pine Grove.
Welcome to Pine Grove.
Welcome to Pine Grove. Is somebody going to say that every 12 seconds?
If you ever need anything.
I'm only going to be here a month during the renovation.
Can I help you? This table is by invitation only.
Are you serious?
She used to say serious as a heart attack, but then Marjorie killed over, so she don't say it anymore.
We call them the Queen Bees. Guess what the B stands for?
Saving seats. Clicks. They're like Mean Girls, but with medical alert bracelets.
Let's go. Remember, sweat is just fat crying for attention.
Looking good, ladies. And are you flirting with me?
Yes. I'm interested in joining the bridge club.
Someone needs a hearing aid. The roster's full.
Okay. Well, I heard Janet Poindexter's a real... This isn't high school.
It's worse. High school, we graduate. Here we die.
One of us. We are the cool ones.
I never thought of myself as cool.
You're not. With us, you will be. Give me the purse.
What purse?
My purse.
Now, why don't you take your wrinkly ass back inside?
Please, we don't take crap from anyone.
Ouch.
What company are you in when you started to dance? It was magical.
Has that line worked for you in the past?
So much.
Let's go crazy.
We are sisters, the 4 of us.
I love that. Oh.
Word on the wheelchair ramps. Just that you and Dan are an item.
It's ridiculous.
If it works out, great. If it doesn't, at least you're riding the bike again.
And in this metaphor, Dan is the bike.
Yes, he is.
I'm gonna need a helmet.
We have got to live every day. You want to get baked?
Did you sleep together?
Oh, don't look so worried. That kind of experience is not on my bucket list.
I remember them getting baked. Perfect for this show.
The same thing.
That was
how apropos.
I definitely am going to have to take that one in. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Was that a shot? Was Christopher Lloyd in it?
Yeah, he is, and I know he's just barely in the trailer, but I think he has a pretty significant part that apparently like a lot of the older women are interested in him, and he's like dating multiple older women.
He's the nursing home Lothario. That's great.
Yeah.
Look, you see the rug he was wearing? That was phenomenal.
That was all part of the humor of it, I guess. Is like, why they attracted this guy with a tube on his head?
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that was good. You took one for the team in there, Courtney. That was good.
I sure did. Took one for the team.
Darren is asking, did having red hair help your career? Not a lot of redhead men in Hollywood.
I think it does, in that it helps you stand out. I think in some ways I think everything's a double-edged sword, right? I think in some ways it might be limiting, in other ways it helps you stand out. But I think for redheads, we often get pigeonholed into playing bad guys, right? Gingers with no souls and that kind of thing.
Oh, jeez. Oh my! Although I would say, one thing that would probably work to your advantage, it kind of goes and like hand in hand with what you were saying before, is you looked younger than you were, which worked to your advantage. I am the son of a ginger, and I had a lot of reddish hair before it all went the way of the dodo. And I've noticed that all of us with this type of hair tend to stay out of the sun, and the less you look like Samsonite luggage, the better the chances are of you getting a decent role that's maybe just below your actual age, I would imagine. Just a guess.
Yeah, I've definitely had a baby face as well, for sure. And but yeah, it's it's interesting how people perceive redheads. And I grew up in a Chicano neighborhood, so you can imagine how well that went over.
They saw you coming from a mile away.
In my neighborhood, either you could throw down and fight, or you could cap. You could talk smack, and I talked smack with the best of them. That's what saved my ass, and growing up in that neighborhood.
You make someone laugh.
That's why I played the role in Colors, because I knew that stuff.
Right. I was going to bring that up too, because Colors is probably one of my all-time favorite movies.
Oh, right on.
I mean, it's got everybody in it,
Yeah.
and it's a great movie. It really portrayed the gangs in L.A. very well.
Yeah, that's all. That was all Dennis Hopper. And Dennis Hopper was given the script. It was just a cop movie, but he lived in Venice Beach, but in the really rough part known as Ghost Town, and he knew about the Bloods and the Crips, and he said, "Make this into a story about the gangs, and I'll do it." And he introduced the world to the whole South Central gang situation. It also broke West Coast rap.
Yep.
Really, that movie
with
broke West Coast rap.
Ice-T, yeah.
It was in that way, it was very much a groundbreaking movie. And I had grown up, seeing these movies like Boulevard Nights and stuff, and they really didn't portray the gangs well. It was like, they were like sort of like half like they're from Tijuana and not really from LA. And so that was the first movie that could really represent it. And I knew Dennis Hopper would do that right. I knew that. And I was working on Can't Buy Me Love at the time with Gerardo Mejia. I don't know if you remember him, Rico Suave.
Mm-hmm.
So we had done 2 movies in a row, and when we were doing Can't Buy Me Love, he had gotten the script, and he knew I grew up in the tough neighborhoods. And he's like, "Dude, you're not going to believe it. There's a white gangbanger in this movie." And I called my mentor, Virgil Fry, who knew Dennis Hopper, helped him make Easy Rider. And as soon as I got back, I went and took a meeting. I didn't even have to audition. Basically, it was like I came in the garb, and they're like, "You know this stuff," and I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Okay, we don't know how many white guys know this stuff. You're in."
Right,
so
right.
I wanted to represent that 1% of white gangbangers in Los Angeles. So.
A very underrepresented group.
Truly, though, you wouldn't believe it. There was a guy I went to grammar school with who became a gangbanger, was a redhead named Billy Red, and I always thought his mind just must have exploded when he saw it, because he knows, like, hey, he's playing me,
Holy shit!
So I know this is totally off topic, but as a fellow,
of course,
as a fellow ginger growing up, how many times did you get asked, "Do you dye your hair?"
Never got asked, "Do I dye my hair?" But I can't tell you how many times it was with my mother, and older women would stop me and say, "Oh my God, your hair is so beautiful. This is how I try to get them to dye it." And they'd be touching my hair, and I'd be like, this is not fun for me,
One would imagine.
That happened a lot when I was a kid.
It's a nightmare, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't had to deal with people like trying to touch my hair in 23 years.
But I can't believe we have 2-3 gingers on this thing.
I am totally freaking outnumbered right now. I mean, I'm great, but that's okay.
That is strange. That doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, like I was like reddish, but my dad was like howdy doody. Like he grew up to look just like Ned Flanders, for crying out loud. It was, it was something to behold. I mean, nothing for him, because he was the youngest of like an Irish Catholic family. So it's like, oh look, gingers. That's it, just gingers. All of them.
Neither one of my parents were, so of course I used to always hear the milkman jokes.
Right?
What's fucked up is when I was a kid, someone said to me, "Hey, you got the mailman's eyes," and I didn't get the joke for years because my father was a fucking postal worker. I just didn't get it. I'm like, my dad's eyes are green. What? Like, every time. And it wasn't until I was like freshman year of high school, like, dude, they're implying that your mom had sex with the mailman. I was like, oh, that's offensive. Got it.
Yeah, I heard that a lot growing up.
What were you gonna say, Leo?
I was gonna read a question here, but yeah, that was just I've heard that as well, and that's just it's okay. Angela's asking, will Courtney Gains be attending any conventions this year?
Good question. So that's all starting to open up now. So I'm doing Detroit City Nightmares in the end of the month. So the end of July and the first 2 days of August. And then I'm doing one, I think, in late August in Gettysburg. So that'll be cool because I'll get to go to Gettysburg. So I love when I get to travel somewhere and see something interesting.
Very cool.
So those are the two I know of right now. So it's starting to open up. I'm sure there'll be more.
Very cool.
I know we probably have some con promoters watching tonight, so I'm going to throw it out there. Billy Millstat, you need to book this guy for next year, 2022, DC.
Chris Rose, my manager. That's who you reach out to. He's been doing cons for a long time. Some love him, some hate him because he has a really good roster. So he's like, you want Malcolm McDowell? You got to take Courtney Gains too, so they don't always like I'm pretty happy to take him. But, he's got a really, really good He started his career with George Romero as a convention manager. Can you imagine that? That was him for his whole career. And he was the person that was instrumental in getting George a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Unfortunately, George passed literally like a month before the star. So that was sad.
Unreal.
Yeah.
That figures too.
But nice guy. Really nice
Where can people find out about our awesome guest, Leo?
Is it about that time for the halfway mark?
Yep.
Okay, so just so I'm
Leo, you got like so sad at the end of it.
Time is flying. We're having such a good time.
This is true.
I just figure if we get the commercials out of the way, we could just come back and just have fun.
Okay.
We should have just played them all at the beginning.
Okay, so we urge you definitely check out. You just saw the trailer for Queen Bees. That looks hilarious. I'm going to be watching I'll watch it with my wife this weekend, and we'll play a trailer for River. But you can find all the information for our awesome guest in the show notes up above or down below, depending on where you're watching or listening to us. Also, if you have Spotify, subscribe to him, Ripple Street, and also Courtney Gains Acoustic. It's Acoustic Gains, right?
Yeah, Acoustic Gains Volume 1.
Awesome. And I got both those links in the show notes as well. And also we have a new sponsor. Now's the time to get to movies. Prospect Theater is open. Check it out.
Did you know around 83% of Americans with disabilities are unemployed? We are changing that. The Prospector Theater is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to providing competitive and integrated employment for adults with disabilities through the operation of a first-run movie theater in Ridgefield, Connecticut. We greet, seat, and treat our audiences to the best, most accessible movie-going experience in the world. Hollywood blockbusters, delicious gourmet popcorn, and one-of-a-kind pink glove service. Join us for a movie and see our sparkle in action. For more information or to purchase tickets, visit www.prospectortheater.org.
And if you want to support Still Toking with, Ben and Jeff did some stuff too. Check it out.
If your world was turned upside down, what would you do?
What the fuck are we gonna do now? Get high.
We are the watching. We are the waiting. We are the remnant, host of vengeful souls forsaken. We'll show no mercy. We'll show with despair. We are the uninvited. Provoke us if you dare. We would be so delighted for the chance to find you with despair. Despair, you're often in despair.
It was more fun that way.
Toking with the Dead episode 1 is available right now. Episode 2 is coming out soon. And there we go. Done with
Bombs and zombies. What could go wrong?
Absolutely nothing. We just throw Twinkies at them.
Like you do.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so I was just thinking, bongs. I mean, if your guys are all about weed, instead of running to get food and stuff, you guys are just hitting all the dispensaries along the way.
Well, we actually own a dispensary.
Makes sense.
In the start of the comic book series, like I said, we own the dispensary, but there's some things happening as we get into like episode 5 and 6 of the series. So episode 1, like Leo said, is out. Episode 2 is in post, and we just started filming 3.
Congrats.
Well, thank you.
Outstanding.
So
there'll be no shortage of pot, because you guys will have the only, you'll be hitting all the dispensaries, and that'll be great.
Right. But the problem is we won't be able to give it or sell it to anybody.
No, that's what I'm saying. You'll just have to smoke it all. That's my point.
Nerds.
We don't want to share it with the zombies. So
who knows? That might cause the whole. Who knows what would happen if a zombie, took a puff? It might change the whole culture.
You thought these zombies would throw me over the floor,
or they would get hungrier. Right? We don't know.
Brains.
Bill Diamond's in the house. Hey, Bill. I'll have to get you the PDFs of the comic, Courtney, because that's really what happens is we actually get the zombies high. And when they come down subconsciously, they realize it alleviates the pain they have for flesh, implementing the medicinal aspect of it. So now they want our weed, and they want to rip us apart. So we have the weed eaters and then the flesh eaters, and they just it's a shit show. It's a shit show.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So, but I'll reach out to Clint and I'll shoot the PDFs over to him and get them over to you.
Sure, check them out.
Anyways, right before break we were talking about Queen Bees, but like you said, River came out yesterday.
Correct.
Could you tell us a little bit about that before we move on into some of the other parts of things that you're playing?
Sure. So River is a psychological sci-fi thriller, and storyline basically is the lead girl comes back home to her small town because her mother mysteriously dies, and then she starts having time lapses where she doesn't know where she's been, and she goes missing for a while and things, and so she's wondering if she's going crazy or what, and that's sort of the thriller component. I play a character, Dr. Michael Glenn, who it's only a 5-hander. It's just a little film, but I end up playing sort of a hyphenate of roles in that I'm a close family member, a close member of the family, so I'm kind of like her surrogate dad. She works at my antique shop, but I'm also the local town psychiatrist. So when she starts having these problems, we start having sessions to try to figure out what's going on with her. So I serve many roles in a way in this small piece. But Emily Skye, who directed it, it's a real auteur piece. She wrote it, directed it, did the cinematography. She does a wonderful job with the natural lighting, and edited it. So she really did it all. And she got the movie distributed within less than a year, which for an indie film is kind of unheard of.
Yeah,
it is.
They're getting it done over there, man. So.
Oh yeah. Trust me, we know that's the genre we're in, and it's not easy getting distribution.
Distribution is the hardest part. Oh, we're gonna watch the trailer. Okay.
I was just bringing it up so you guys knew we had it. But yeah, I can play it now.
Courtney's like, oh, okay, yeah, we can watch it.
Where have you been?
I went on a hike
and it was yesterday.
Jamie and I have been hanging those in town for days.
Rev, we've all called you at least 100 times. You search the woods, you're home.
You're special. I do feel like I'm going crazy sometimes. Just be strong.
Jamie can't go with you. This is your journey.
Do you think I'll ever be normal again? It's my job to watch you. I don't remember how I got home.
All right. Like that COVID beard I had going.
Right.
It was a nice character, though. You know, it was a very earthy, very loving character, and I don't always get to play those types of roles. So it was a nice departure for me. And it was a good experience. You know, they'd made a short of it originally that did well in festivals, and the investors in that invested in making the feature. So when I came on, the crew and the cast already had known each other, and they had already embodied those characters before. They welcomed me with open arms. But those young actors, it's really some of them, it's their first film, and they did a really nice job, you know?
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to look into that one a little more because, yeah, you know, we love bringing on newer actors and actresses as well.
I can't wait to check that out just because, like, the concept of losing time like that scares the living shit out of me.
Well, because it happens to you.
Yes.
Well, not me specifically. What have you heard? Regardless.
Listen, we connect at 6:45. Okay? That's all I'm saying, Brandon. That's all I'm saying,
420. More like loss of time around 420.
What?
So, we want to urge our viewers and listeners on the podcast side of these things to definitely check out Queen Bees and River. And all the show notes, where, Leo?
Up above or down below. And I know we tout this quite a bit, but indie movies is
Courtney's got it.
You know, if you're sick of, you know, like the sequels and the prequels and, you know, the rehashed ideas, indie film is where it's at. You know, that's where you can get some awesome original storylines and just some movies where you have people that really put their heart into it. A couple movies you did a couple of years ago, what was it? Funhouse
Massacre.
Yeah, Funhouse Massacre was insane, and Hell's
Kitty. Yeah, it's
Kitty.
a pretty good film. It's a pretty good ride, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And Hell's Kitty was a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, Hell's Kitty was originally sort of a webisode thing that got took it all together and put it into a feature. That's actually where I met Clint, who is now the publicist that got me here. He did a good job on promoting that, and we became friendly. So yeah, I know that's a crazy. If you're a horror person, it's just an homage to tons of horror people. It's a lot of fun, and John Franklin and I kind of loosely brought back our characters from Children of the Corn. Initially, it was John's character was doing all the talking, and I was like, "Hey, man, like Malachi's, not going to listen to anybody." First off, that I said. Second off, let's beef it up a little bit. And then he saw I did music, and he said, "Hey, you want to write a song?" And so I wrote a song called "I Hate Cats," which was that's the primary character in the whole show is this possessed cat. And that was pretty funny. I love when somebody throws something at me like that and see if I could actually make something happen. And I thought "I Hate Cats" was a pretty funny little tune. So.
Hey, listen, we've got some zombies that smoke weed. Just saying.
Right.
Throwing at you. What can you do with that?
I'm sure I could come up with a song with zombie smoking weed. I'm sure I could.
That would be kick ass.
Sounds like you've got some pretty good guys on your soundtrack stuff, even like your opener, and then sounds like you've got some pretty good musicians going already, though.
We were blessed, everything from being able to connect with Bill on a friendly side, first of all, and then move into him working in the comics with us, and then into filming to, like you said, the soundtrack behind it. We were introduced to the openers, who are Scarecrow Hill. They're from the hometown here.
Yeah, they're rocking pretty hard, those guys.
The young lady that plays Piper in the first two episodes, that's her husband's band.
Aha.
So that's how we got connected there. And his dad actually was my tattoo artist for a long time.
It just gets cooler, man.
Right. And then Bill took us up to the Witch's Dungeon up in Connecticut, which is the oldest classic horror movie museum, owned by Cortland Hull. His uncle was Henry Hull, the first werewolf of London. So there's a lot of really
That's
cool...
a great tune, man. That's a great tune.
And we met the lead singer from Blitzkid, Steve Matthews, aka Argyle Goolsby, and he did the soundtrack for the film and the entire score and has continued since.
Great.
So, yeah.
Well, hey man, check out some of my stuff with Ripple Street. If you think there's anything that might fit for one of your episodes, let's see what we can do.
Absolutely. We definitely will. And where can they find all that up, Leo?
Up above or down below, depending on
Hey,
where.
I'm pushing those show notes. Those show notes, folks. So you keep mentioning Ripple Street, is it?
Yeah, that's the name of the band. Yeah.
Ripple Street. So a band. So not only are you an accomplished actor, but you play music as well.
Yeah, I always have. I started taking acting lessons at 13. I also started taking guitar lessons at 13. My intention to be a professional actor was there. I just wanted to learn to play guitar, and because I just thought it'd be cool and a good way to pick up chicks. And
how'd that work out?
What girl doesn't like a guy who can play guitar? So, but really, once I learned to play, halfway decent, I just started writing, and that's really. I love that more than the performing. Performing's fine, but I feel like that creative moment that you write a song is just something. It's just magical, and I really enjoy it.
I see, for the promoters watching us, I see a huge media package there, folks. Okay. Not only do you get the horror side of the signings, but hey, you might even be able to get them to perform in the after party. Come on,
yeah, that's been getting brought up recently. I think if I can do the band, I think I'm a little less sure I want to play a Saturday night with a bunch of people drinking an acoustic set, But if I can have the band there and we can play loud enough, that they can talk if they want to. Good luck.
Right.
I'm there.
Those. After the cons, those after parties are just magical.
Magical or madness?
Yes.
But I was gonna say, we do a lot of cons, and they're magical. Okay.
Well,
people go there to have a good time. They bring their cooler in with them to their hotel. Full of booze. They're coming to have a good time. It's the time when all the, for lack of a better word, the freaks all get together and get to be normal, right? Because they were all. Right. Coming up in their small towns, they were the freaks, and now the freaks have gone mainstream, which is really kind of ironic, right?
It's the truth, though.
Isn't it?
I was just going to say, we were at a after party after a horror con, and they had, so the owner of the con played guitar, and singing was Sean Whalen and Sid Haig.
Wow.
It blew my mind. It was awesome.
The late great Sid Haig, man.
Right.
Talk about a long career. That dude was doing movies in black and white.
Right. Yeah. Great actor.
Oh yeah, man. Fabulous. Got to get to know him a little bit doing conventions over the years. Yeah, great guy.
That's awesome. See, it sounds like you had like slightly better experiences at some of these after parties than I have. Like one of the last ones I went to. I mean, there was some good stuff that happened, but then like still it was karaoke, which always is a free for all. And some kid dressed as a werewolf, which cool. You're at a horror convention. No one's mad at you for that. But he requests to sing a song, so he gets up and he requested Werewolves of London by Warren Zevon, which is like, I love that song. That's my jam. And he gets up there and he just starts holding the mic and like looking at it and like tapping it and not understanding what's going on. I was like, this is the worst joke I've ever seen. Get off the stage. Somebody came up halfway through the song and just mumbled their way through it to get it over and done with. And everyone there was just like, this was just wasted time.
Kind of like everyone involved.
You never know what you're going to get at those. You never know what you're going to get at those after parties. Some of them are great, and some of them are duds, and you just never know.
Right. It was interesting to say the least bit. I mean, more power to him for signing up for karaoke and just standing in front of a microphone. I wouldn't have the balls to do it.
The funniest ones are when and it's a tradition at whatever particular convention where people actually dance and like they actually have routines. And it's just funny to see horror folks dancing. It's interesting. Not what you expect to see.
Right.
No, a lot more pop songs playing around that area than I would have thought too. I was very surprised by that.
Yeah, exactly, because it's not what anybody in that world's into. So yeah, it always is a bit of a head scratcher, Yeah,
you're wearing a Slayer shirt, but you're listening to Lady Gaga. Okay,
exactly.
Sure thing. Why the fuck not?
Right. I see a lot of comments popping in over there, Leo.
Yeah, just real quick. Zetsubi Gigi says, I loved your movie Discipline, so underrated. And also, Would You is a good song from your band. I like it a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, Would You, I would say the closest, to say it sounds Black Sabbath-esque is fair. It's a bit of a hard rocker.
I'm definitely going to have to check this out.
Yeah, that one might be one that might work for your zombie show. So check it out. But nobody has ever talked about Discipline. So that is really wild. That is one of the craziest projects I've ever been involved with, and I'll tell you why. So the director, Martin Mayo, got me into this project that kind of has S&M sort of undertones and overtones, but it took, I kid you not, over 3 shooting times, 15 years to finish.
Wow.
The second time we got together, or the third time we got together, he got the crew together to shoot, and the camera didn't show up. And his editing equipment caught on fire in his apartment the night before. It's nothing like – and here's the craziest thing, and this isn't funny, but it's still completely crazy. So he finally finishes the film, and we do a premiere in L.A., and we actually got on local news, which amazed me. Really shortly thereafter, he passed away. It was like that was his life's work. It just mind-blowing.
Yeah, it was a fight to the bitter end for that thing.
No,
right?
Jeez. No kidding, but I never heard anybody. I don't even know anybody had even seen the film really. So thank you for liking it. Interesting project to be a part of. Learned a lot about the S&M community that I certainly didn't know before. No, but it's a trip. That community is a trip. When you what you learn is really that the submissives are the dominants and the dominants are the submissives. And what I mean by that is, most of the people that are submissives, or quite a few of them, are actually very powerful people. Like they're like judges and things like that, where they have to make really hardcore decisions every day and be authorities. And they just want somebody else to dominate them in some way, or punish them for putting somebody in jail. I don't know. But it's very interesting psychology, It's very interesting psychology. It's a transfer of power.
Did you think about maybe not putting him in jail, asshole?
Right. No, got a job to do. Matter of fact, I ended up adding a monologue at the end talking about that transfer of power, because that's what I really learned. The community was nice enough to let me, come in there and just sort of see what they're about. And it's an interesting experience when somebody decides to whoop somebody with a cat of 9 tails, man. The energy transfer is like, woo! What just happens? Like some guy, he'll look normal. All of a sudden he gets the cat of 9 tails and he's like, becomes powerful, It's like, it's like very interesting dynamics. But interestingly enough, they have relationships that last a long time. Like people will be like, dominatrix will be like, yeah, I've been married to my husband 20 years. Or like, no, it's like people, I guess it's so hard to find compatibility that they stick with each other,
Right. Wow.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
That is very interesting.
Not about filling gaps.
But that, on a serious note, that's the one thing that's so interesting about acting is you'll be asked to go into worlds and territories and things that you would have never taken the time to understand or learn. And you have to walk in their shoes. You have to learn what it's about, and you usually come out of it with a much deeper understanding and less, cliche jokes, I'll never look at the community the same,
That sounds
understood
right to me. All about the humanity behind the thing.
I think that's the greatest gift to for an actor being an actor, is that we get a chance to do that. Even like say like Colors, walking in a gangbanger shoes, or doing a Civil War movie and you're from the South, and learning. You just see things from the different perspectives and learn why people do what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only learn yourself, but help to convey that in as accurate a manner that you can to an audience that doesn't know it until they see what it is.
You hope, right? Yeah, you hope on some level you're able to convey some of that. Like let's talk Memphis Belle for a second. Like one of the greatest thing. When I do conventions and stuff, people will come up to me, and I've heard stories like my father was, a pilot, never talked about it. We went to see that movie, and then he started opening up to me about what he had been through. Like that's the stuff you're like, wow, that's way bigger than a movie, right? That it can create a dialogue,
That's incredible.
For a father and his son, that you can't, or you can't buy me love. I've had people come up to me and say like, I was a jock, a football player going into my senior year, and I couldn't wait to haze people. And then I saw that movie and I couldn't do it anymore. You're just like, wow, like, a jock saw that movie and it got through to him, right?
That's a definite like unforeseen bonus to things like that for sure. Like it's one thing to do something that you would consider poignant, for lack of a better term. And then another thing entirely to do a teen comedy where it's basically like, hey, let's just do kind of a weird updated Pygmalion thing. And to have somebody seriously be like, it really opened my eyes. I didn't really see these skinny kids that we were going to beat on as actual people. And until I saw that big nosed Patrick Dempsey get the girl, I was like, oh man.
Yeah, the power of cinema, even in a comedy, comedies can get through sometimes easier than a drama to people, their guards down a little bit, right?
Right.
Well, two sides of the same coin. And if somebody's experienced the drama, then they might respond to the comedy a little bit better.
That's true. But the power of cinema, man, don't underestimate it. That's what I've learned.
Absolutely.
F&A.
F&A?
Yeah, F&A. What? Fucking A. Is that better? Jesus.
Thank you.
All right.
Cool, you are on our show tonight.
Cool, man. I'm glad I could help out.
Much appreciated, Pat.
So we had Andre Gower on a while ago, and he and if you haven't heard, he had a medical issue recently. We really wish him the best. Awesome dude, but he told us some amazing stories about growing up in the 80s, and you mentioned growing up in the 80s as well. Like he said, like, he kept on running into Brad Pitt at like birthday parties and stuff like that. Do you have any like odd stories like that where like you must have he was saying like all the kids were like hanging out together, and it's just like just the crazy people that you ran into as a kid?
Yeah, not as much. So I heard about Andre as well, and wish him a speedy recovery. Kind of crazy, out of nowhere stuff. But I wasn't running around a lot. I was not to take anything away from saying about himself, but I was very serious about what I was doing, and I also lost my parents at a young age. I had to make a living at it, like for real, and. So I wasn't much of a, not that I didn't go to some parties, this and that, but I wasn't that social, even when I would go sign in for auditions, I'd sign in and I'd go down the hall. I don't want anybody to talk to me. Like I'm not the kind of actor who can like, oh, hey, how's it going? And then walk right in and nail a scene. You know what I mean? Like I had to work at it and keep myself in the zone. So I was, in some ways, I think that's been a blessing because it kept me out of trouble, because LA, it's all there, man. Good, bad, or indifferent. You looking for it, it'll find you. And I've seen a lot of people crash and burn in that town. And what's kept me sane is just it's always been about the work first for me, not about the hype, the social, the whatever,
Right. Yeah, that I can imagine though that there were instances where you'd had basically like, hey, come on, yo, CG, come on.
Oh, well, sure.
You said they're like, you're the fucking devil. Like, no.
Exactly. There you go. Exactly. But no, sure. I remember we had the class I taught, and one of our actors was in Leo DiCaprio's first film with De Niro. It was My Life as a Dog, or This Boy's Life.
Yes.
And a young Leo came to the party, and he was acting crazy. Who knew he was going to go on to be Leo DiCaprio, right? There's a lot of that. There's a lot of like, oh yeah, you're doing, auditioning with Charlie Sheen, and then you just don't know who's going to become who. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair.
There's
So
a lot of that. A
unpredictable.
lot of guys you came up with, and some are still going, and some have crashed and burned.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment, I think.
Very fair.
Like why the hell they never mind. I was gonna do a stupid joke about Leo on Family Ties. Like, why the hell are they bringing this new kid on Family Ties? It was
yes. First audition I ever blew was I went to meet the head of the network at NBC, and they gave me something to read, and it was the Family Ties character, and I completely misunderstood what it was. I didn't the idea of a Republican kid. I didn't even understand what the hell that was, so I completely botched the idea. It was like for the head of the network, and I just completely blew it. So it wasn't until I saw the show that I went, "Oh, that's what that character is."
Wait.
I was just a little street rat, like, "Hey, what's up?"
You mean the pipsqueak Canadian understood the Republican stuff? All right, sure.
Come on, man, I was like 16 years old. I had no idea politics. What are we talking about?
Right?
I love it.
Oh man,
did the show go off the rails enough for you, Ben?
It's been off the rails since we started.
Yeah,
that's true.
Oh, speaking of Billy, he chimes in. I'm late. What else is new? It's okay,
Wow.
Billy. Everybody seems to be. Actually, Courtney was early.
That's right.
I was floored.
That's
sorry.
I'm a professional, gentleman.
Exactly.
Well, transitive properties being what they are, apparently I am not. Sorry.
When we had JJ Cohen on last week, he told us some cool stories about being on the set for Back to the Future. Do you have any memories that you'd like to share?
Yeah, well, sure. JJ Cohen, first off, we met on Secret Admirer, and we became friends. And we even had a band for a short period of time with another very talented actor who passed away last year, Christophe St. John. I don't know if you know who he is, but black actor, had an absolutely prolific television career. He spent his last 12, 15 years on Young and the Restless.
Wow.
But literally his first character was on Sanford and Son. I mean, it was like 7.
Wow.
He was in Roots, The Next Generation. I mean, the guy, his list just goes, you name any black show, Cosby, you name it, he was on it at one point or another. Wow. But we had the three of us had a band together for a hot minute. So there's my JJ Cohen connection. And I certainly knew JJ on Back to the Future, but really my first connection was Crispin Glover. The first thing I ever did was an AFI film that I always forget the name of, but in fact you can still get it. There's a thing called the Beaver Trilogies. They've done this same story 3 times. One time Sean Penn played it, one time Crispin played it, and you can still get it to this day. It's kind of like got this, and Crispin says it's the best thing he'd ever done to this day. So let me tell you a little story. So first thing I'm ever doing, director come in and me and this other guy, you're smoking in the boys' room, just start shooting. So we're cutting it up, and then the bathroom door stall opens, and it's Crispin Glover dressed in the black outfit of Olivia Newton-John from Grease.
All right, I'm on board.
Yeah, picture that, right? And so of course I'm just like, what in the hell am I seeing? And then Crispin goes, hey guys, what are you doing? And I'm just going, this guy is brilliant. Who's this guy? Like this is, and we became friends. So it was nice to have him on the set. Being a lead in such a big movie and knowing him, and then all my scenes were interactions with him where I had to get physical and kick him in the ass and things like that. So it's nice to know him already and know what kind of actor he was, and that we could do our thing. It freed me up tremendously. So
wow.
And the other story is I tell this a lot is I was on it before Eric Stoltz got fired. So a job that was supposed to be 3 days turned into 5 weeks. So it's been probably the biggest financial blessing, residuals, checks that you get from because obviously Back to the Future still plays constantly on television to this day. Mm-hmm. So it's been probably the best financial windfall of my career. So thank you, Back to the Future.
Oh, totally. And I'm sure you can thank all of us because I know I've bought Back to the Future probably 5 times already. And it's not on 4K, so I'm going to need to get it again. So.
I have so many things that have Back to the Future on it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, how many flux capacitors do you have?
Well, I mean, currently just the one, but it was up to 4 at one point, apparently. And those things are not cheap.
I bet they're not. I bet they're not.
Just ask my wife. She's the one that essentially scammed the one we got. Wonderful. Shit, I'm even wearing a Back to the Future t-shirt right now.
There you go. Well, yeah, to be even have a little role in one of the most successful trilogies of all time is just one of those things you just go, wow, just glad to be a part of it, you know?
Right.
Totally. Wolfie says one of my favorite movies with Courtney Gains, The Killing Grounds. It was about a plane going down in the mountains, but a ton of gold on it. Can Courtney talk a little bit about making of that?
Yeah, you know, that's not, again, a movie that gets talked about a lot, but I say it's one of the best bad guys I've ever played. And John Franklin had a small role in it, and I got to kill him, so that was just payback for Children of the Corn, so that was good. We shot that in Big Bear, and it had a really good cast. Rodney Grant, who's an American Indian actor, he's done a lot of big stuff. Charles Rocket, who's since passed away, but also did Priscilla Barnes. And I have a great scene at the end where I take Priscilla Barnes out and I get shot up, and she was just fantastic. And it's definitely kind of a film noir-y type thing in that no one really makes it out alive. You know, the plot line is, this gold goes down in the middle of the mountains, and these people who are on a excavation find it and decide to take it and try to hike it out. And me and Anthony Michael Hall are the heavies. It's our gold. And so once we find them, you know, it's like they become our mules, you know, and it's really good bad guy. It's like a guy that just got straight out of the jail, who's just a mad dog, and you know, has no healthy boundaries whatsoever.
Well, there you go, Wolfie.
Yeah, I went straight. It was like a straight to video back in the day deal, but it was a good group of actors to work with. I had a good time.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Actually, and what a weird thing is, it actually got me is I haven't done a lot of commercials in my career, but I did a Jack in the Box spot that won a Clio, and the guy who invented the Jack in the Box spot still says out of his 100 that he did, it's his favorite. They just never showed it much because it was still too edgy. But I got that job because the director and the guy who does the Jack in the Box spots, they were friends, and he saw me in that movie, and he wanted a tough guy to play in this Jack in the Box spot, and that's how I got the job. So one job led to another. But if you ever get a chance to look that up on like YouTube, Courtney Gains, Jack, I'm telling you, it's a funny commercial.
Leo's already working on that.
Yeah, find it, man. Let's play it. It's pretty darn funny. And it was done in 2 shots, and the DP was a guy that shot Batman. It was very handheld. No commercials had really been done like that at that time. And you knew you had something funny when the crew was laughing after every take, because crews, you know, they've seen it all, right? They're hard to get them enrolled. They were losing it. So do we have it?
It says this is it. So we're hopefully it is.
Let's see.
Mr. Brad Haley?
Relax. Did I win something?
My sources tell me you've been calling Jack in the Box junk in the box.
So?
I take these things personally, Brad.
Get lost.
Sure, just try my food, apologize, and I'll go.
Beat it, clown!
Listen, punk, my employees have been working their buns off to make the best burgers, shakes, and fries around.
Oh, yeah. Look at you, Jack.
Try a thick and frosty milkshake made with real ice cream. Yummy, isn't it?
Very yummy.
Thanks. Here, try a fry. Better than Max, right?
Yeah.
Be honest with me, Brad. What do you think of my burger?
Tasty.
Really? You're not just saying that because I could snap your arm like a twig?
No, it's not just your food, man. I'm sorry, Jack.
Well, I'm sorry about the grass stains.
Really?
Oh, that's awesome.
What was funny is the guy that played Jack, his real name was Jack, and he was really upset about doing this. He was like, this is not going to put Jack in a good light. I don't like this, you know. I thought it was hilarious. It would only play like late night, like on Jerry Springer or something, you know.
That's just hysterical.
Well, now it's played on this show too. So
Yeah, but that was in the 90s. That was the look. That was the Mad Dogs that I was playing.
That's fucking great. The second the camera started chasing him, I'm like, oh shit, he's on the run.
2 shots. It was done in 2 shots.
Wow.
From the point when the first shot was to the point where I hit the camera up, and the second part was him chasing me into that thing. Pretty cool.
Yeah. Wow. That's impressive.
So you said Jack didn't like being portrayed in that commercial. It by any chance is he the same guy that thought the Noid was coming after him?
I don't know, but the fact that his name was actually Jack, I thought was even crazier. His real name.
Did you have you heard that story about the Noid?
Oh no, tell me the story.
Oh, so do you remember the 80s and 90s commercials, the Noid for what was it, Domino's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had to stop running those because a guy went like cuckoo. He thought those commercials were specifically aimed to torment him. And I forgot what he did to Domino's, but he did something bad enough where they had to stop airing it.
Wow, I didn't know that story. See, I didn't get the reference. That's crazy.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah,
I did not know that either.
This guy must not be around because I saw a Domino's commercial earlier.
Yeah,
tonight when the Noid is coming back.
They're using the Noid again.
Noid back, yeah.
Yeah. Billy says that he's
one
back.
little trivia thing about the Jack. There's a camera like in the nose, like a very expensive camera, and that's how he sees. He can't see. He's actually seeing, like looking through like a video lens or something. Pretty crazy. And they have like fans in there to keep him cool and all this stuff.
Oh man.
I just thought it was hilarious. He's like, I don't know. I don't like Jack playing this role. He's being aggressive.
This isn't the wholesome character I signed up to play.
I'm like, dude, you're in a head. I don't know what to tell you. This is
right.
You're selling fast food, all right?
Because the guy that actually did the commercials is actually the guy that does the directs the commercials. Is actually the guy who did the voice too.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah. So he's Jack.
Shit.
Yeah. So the guy in the costume just zip it and do his job.
Yeah, I sort of think so. I mean, I'm not saying there's not a skill set to being a guy that does that stuff. There are people who make a good living, doing things like that. But yeah, I don't.
There are people who make a terrible living doing things like that too. I can tell you. There's not a single kid at Home Depot wearing that stupid Homer mask that's making a good living. All right.
There are in Hollywood, though. I'll tell you that. There are people who do creatures. That's their specialty. They get makeup, and they do. Some of them do very well.
That is true.
It's crazy.
Leo, where can everybody find our awesome guest?
In the show notes up above or down below, depending on where you're watching or listening to us. And you can also subscribe to him on Spotify. We have all those links there. And we had a commercial from Zetsubo Gigi. I know I said that wrong.
I think it's Zetsubo Gigi.
Why, thank you. Bless you. So what
need a tissue?
What's the most difficult role you've ever acted?
Oosh, that's hard to pick one, but I can definitely cite a couple. 2 of them were television. One was a diagnosis murder I did where I played a character who was paralyzed on one side and pretending to have cerebral palsy on the other. And I had less than a week to put that together. I had less than 24 hours to put it together for the audition and less than a week to do the role. So that was pretty challenging. And then I did a Criminal Minds not too long ago that was one of the more challenging roles I've done. The character had lots of issues. He was. You think he's the unsub in the episode, but in fact he's protecting his brother, and he's homeless. But he's got PTSD, and he's having flashbacks, and he has this story in his head that who he's protecting is this dog, but it's really his brother. I mean, it's like out there, and it was very challenging. And I'm proud of the work I did in that, actually. So those are the 2 that really come to mind.
Wow.
Criminal Minds is awesome.
That was a good question. I actually had that on my list for asking you, like, I don't know, an hour ago.
Yes, you snooze, you lose, man.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. But Leo, do you have another show tonight, right?
I do. Just real quick, because I'm a geek and I need to look it up. On January 30th, 1989, Kenneth Lamar Noid, a mentally ill man who thought the ad campaign was a personal attack on himself, entered a Domino's restaurant in Chamblee, Georgia, armed with a .357 Magnum and held 2 employees hostage for over 5 hours.
Yikes.
Well, now we know the whole story.
Yeah.
And now you know the rest of the story.
But I do want to ask Courtney one thing. So out of all these amazing TV shows and amazing movies that you've done, what's one of your favorites?
A couple, come to mind. I think Memphis Belle was an incredible experience. We got to go shoot in the UK for 3 months. We got trained by SAS specialists, and just in working with an incredible crew. There was several Oscar award-winning people in the crew: the production designer, the director of photography, the editor, the producer. So it was just top notch stuff, and got to shoot at famous Pinewood Studios. That certainly ranks up there. And then I got one that I actually is something I'd want to talk about. It's perfect for a stoner show. It's a movie I did called Benny Bliss and the Disciples of Greatness. And it's a rock and roll road comedy with an anti-technology message. It's something I actually helped produce as well. And I wrote 4 songs in the movie. And in the end, it culminates in a desert vortex where we actually perform a 30-minute show live with basically no punch-ins. It was probably the most without a net as an actor I've ever been. We rehearsed the songs, but never in order. And then I had to introduce other acts too. And we did it with 200 extras, and we just shot it twice. That's it. And it was like doing a real live concert. It was crazy. Wow. But I wanted to mention that show on this one because it's one of those things I tell people, if you get baked, this is the kind of movie you should watch this movie, Baked. My character looks like something between Elvis and Evel Knievel.
Which is kind of Elvis or Evel Knievel anyway. So.
Exactly.
Right.
I love it.
That's why it's a hybrid.
I mean, you've done so much in your career, and we didn't even touch on the fact that you had production credits, that you were a producer, that you did something with a video game I saw somewhere.
Done
I think
two very cool video games.
2.
Both of them were actually groundbreaking at the time. The first one was Wing Commander 3, which was the first time they ever had human beings in a video game. They had enough RAM to do it, and it was all done on green screen, so we couldn't move sideways. We could only move back and forth a little bit, and I always tell the story that I saw green in my retinas for at least 2 weeks after we were done shooting. I swear to God. It had burned into my retinas.
Now, that was one...
The second one was L.A.Noir, which was the first project to actually ever render a sort of animated face of yourself, actual facial recognition into a game. And it took them 5 years to make it. The first part, we had to do the T-suits, with the dots on it, right, for our bodies. And then we came back months later and did just our faces. And then they put that face onto the body. I mean, it was crazy. And but it's a really excellent game. And LA 1930s, it's like a documentation of that time perfectly. But it was not an easy project to do at all. So yeah, I have done a lot, but both of them were actually technologically groundbreaking. So that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. I mean, go ahead, Leo.
Oh, I was just going to say L.A.Noir, they had to have that so much detail, but because if I remember correctly, based on how a character's facial expressions were, you had to tell whether they were lying or not, because it's
right
interviewing people and
literally when they were doing just the faces, they had all these cameras around us high and low. I'm talking like 50. And before you did each line, you had to do all this facial recognition. They'd be like, smile, frown, and then you do one line. And then you had to do all that crowd. It was like the slowest, arduous process ever, but it was so that they could get all those facial recognitions they needed.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was pretty crazy.
Billy says it was based on the Black Dahlia murders.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. And I've driven by that house on Franklin Boulevard many times. That was a Frank Lloyd Wright house. Killer house.
Now,
that's right where that's where they found the body on the street there and everything, which is where the doctor that they think did it lived and such.
And Wing Commander 3, was that the one Mark Hamill was in as well?
Correct. And he did several of them, and he actually had a little percentage, and he made a lot of money on those things. Those were very successful.
Yeah. I was
but
working.
He was a great guy to get to work with. Real sweetheart.
That's awesome.
What were you going to say, Leo?
No, I was going to say that was an amazing game. I worked retail when it was out, and that was one we couldn't keep on the shelves.
But I'm sure you got yours when it came in.
Deal at the time, for sure.
I bet.
So I know Leo has another show tonight to run in about 25 minutes. So you want to do your thing?
Sounds good. Sounds good. I want to thank everybody for watching this fine evening. We urge you definitely check out Courtney Gains. You know him, but we have a lot of links in the show notes. And you probably didn't know he has a band. He does some awesome music, and we have some Spotify links there as well. Go watch Queen Bees this weekend. It looks hilarious. We showed that earlier. Also, River looks really good as well. And, he has what's the new one coming out?
The other one after River is Charming the Hearts of Men. That trailer's up now too.
Awesome. And for me, just Google Leo Pond. You find a bunch of stuff. Could be true, could be not. I'm not going to say which is which, but follow these awesome people. And Courtney, where do you like people interacting with you on social media?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram. Facebook's the best way to really interact. And I always tell you'll know which one's me because I have all the current stuff that nobody would have. So
awesome. And I have a bunch of those links in the show notes as well. And Powerful Brandon, where do you like people interacting with you?
Hey, gang, you can come on over to the Powers Combined Facebook group. It's just a bunch of geeky stuff. And our number one rule is don't be a jerk. Just everybody's there to have a good time. Other than that, you can follow me on Twitter at Brandon's Powers and on Instagram at this Brandon has powers. And I am also on the Dorkening Wednesday night show every week.
Awesome. And I don't know if you can answer this real quick. We had one last question that came in. What's a role you missed out on because you had taken another job?
Ooh, I don't know. That's a good question. Gosh, I probably don't know because I was working, so I couldn't take another job. I know the one that was the most intense though. So I did a pilot, this show called Shivers. It was a sitcom, and I really didn't enjoy it. And I had signed a 3-year contract, and I didn't really want to do it. I really didn't have a good time making it. And then I got Memphis Belle, probably the biggest movie, in my mind at that time. And I was just like, oh Lord, please let this pilot fail. So I could. And I remember they called me and they were like, I'm sure you'll be happy to know that our show didn't make it. I was like, okay, great, thanks, bye. And I was like, thank you, Lord, thank you.
Awesome, Benjamin.
Well, you can find us at stilltoking.com. That's your best bet. You can follow along with everything we're doing, from the comic books to this awesome live show to the filming, yada, yada, yada. We want to thank our amazing guest, Mr. Courtney Gains, for coming out tonight, spending some time with us. But to all our veterans and first responders, we want to thank you for doing what you do every day so people like us can come up here and do what we do. We'll see you. We're out of here. Be safe.
See you later. Everybody stick around.